Today we'll start with the next topic or the next chapter, which is current electricity. Now the current electricity in this chapter, the very basic thing or the very first thing for us to know is what is electricity. Now as we already knew from our previous concepts that electricity is a flow of charge. Electricity or current electricity is nothing but flow of charge. So let's suppose if we have two conductors and these two conductors are kept at certain constant potential difference V. So there is a potential difference between them and these two conductors are charged and they have a potential difference V. If these two conductors are connected by any conducting wire or material, then there is a charge flow from the higher potential to the lower potential. Whichever is kept at higher potential, from there to the lower potential we have a charge flow. And this rate of flow of this charge is what we have called it as the current. Now suppose I have Q coulomb of charge flowing. Let's take any cross section of this wire. Let's take a small cross section of this wire. And in that small cross section, if Q amount of charge is flowing for a time interval T, then the rate of the flow of the charge, that is dQ by dt, the small dQ by dt at the time small t, that is the rate of the flow of the charge, is what we have called it as the current I. Or you can also call it as the total Q coulomb of charge has passed at the time t. So I is, the current is Q by t. The SI unit of the charge is coulomb, where the SI unit of time is second. The SI unit of the current is called as ampere, which is denoted by capital A. So 1 ampere of current is defined as 1 coulomb of charge flow for any cross-sectional area for a time of 1 second. So if 1 coulomb of charge passes through a cross-section for a time 1 second, then that amount of flow of charge for 1 second is called 1 ampere of current. So this is the basic definition of current flow or the rate of flow of charge. Now coming to a very important law including that, which says, which we already know is Ohm's law. It says that this current is proportional to the potential difference V. So if we have the potential difference increased, the current flow also would increase. And then we equate it V by a proportionality constant R, or we can also write V equal to IR, where R is a proportionality constant and we call it as resistance of the wire or the material of the wire. And we also know from our previous knowledge that resistance R is proportional to the length of the wire. If the wire is long enough, the resistance would be more, and vice versa. And it is inversely proportional to the area of the wire. The cross-sectional area of the wire is, let's suppose they are A, then R is proportional to L by A. It is proportional to the length of the wire, whereas it is inversely proportional to the area, cross-sectional area of the wire. So now if we just take a proportionality constant, R becomes rho L by A. Now rho is called resistivity of the wire. This rho is called the resistivity of the wire, and L by A, L is the length of the wire, A is the cross-sectional area of the wire. This is by the law of resistance, which we will deal in detail for a upcoming class. So R is equal to rho L by A, where rho is the resistivity. Now resistivity rho is inversely proportional to something called the conductivity sigma, where rho tells us what is the amount of resistance to flow the current. The sigma tells us how much current can flow, or what is the conductance of that material. So sigma is called conductance, where rho is called resistivity. Now we already know that Ohm's law is V equal to IR. Now let's see how this Ohm's law have another form in terms of resistivity of the material, in terms of the conductivity of the material. Now let's suppose that there is a particular material, or there is a particular wire which is connected, and there is a potential difference V, current is there which is I, and R is the resistance of this wire. Now let's suppose there is an electric field which is applied, which is moving from positive or higher potential to the negative charges or the lower potential. And from our knowledge of the relation between electric field and the potential, we know that electric field is the gradient of potential. So this wire is of length L and cross-sectional area A, and potential V divided by L is what will be our electric field, because we know that electric field is the gradient of potential. Now looking at this, we can also tell V equal to E into L. So this is another very interesting concept that we bring in to the Ohm's law. Now as we already know V equal to IR from Ohm's law, from the law of resistance we know R equal to rho L by A. Substituting R, we get V equal to I rho L by A. Now substituting for the electric field in the place of potential, we get E into L is I rho L by A. From here we know electric field E equal to I rho by A. So this is a very interesting result that we get for a material which has the resistivity rho, and it is having a cross-sectional area A. Now the amount of current divided by cross-sectional area is what we have called is at current density. I by A is called J, which is current density. So current density is a quantity which says that suppose in a particular cross-sectional area, in a particular cross-section of any material, suppose let's take this cross-sectional area, in this how much current, how much ampere of current is flowing through a particular cross-sectional area is what we have called it as a current density. If you remember, when we were defining the current is just amount of charge per second, right? So actually current is not a vector quantity, though it has a particular direction. It directs always towards a positive charge flow direction. So the direction of conventional direction of current is towards the same direction of the positive charge movement, or the opposite direction of electrons. Both can be understand. So I is a vector quantity, is a scalar quantity. It's not a vector quantity, though it has a particular direction, and it is it is a result of Q by T, charge per time. Though it has a direction, but still it doesn't follow the vector addition law. It follows scalar addition law, and that is how current I is a scalar quantity. Now if you calculate current per unit area, where we call it as a quantity of current density. Current in a cross-sectional area, how much current is flowing in a cross-sectional area, or you can say how much charge per time is flowing through a cross-sectional area, we call it as current density, and this current density is a vector quantity. Now substituting for I by A, we get J into sigma. So electric field is equal to J into sigma. We also know that sigma is 1 by rho. So from here we can write electric field E is J by sigma, or current density divided by the conductance of the material, or we can also write J equal to sigma into E. So if you see this and this relation, or rather let's see this relation of Ohm's law talks about the current amount of current flow, which is I equal to V into V by R, whereas this relation talks about the current density in a material, which is conductance into the electric field of the material. Both these laws are called Ohm's law. This is a very simple form of Ohm's law, which talks about the current, amount of current, where you have a potential difference V given. Whereas the second or another form of Ohm's law is what gives us the current density J, which is equal to sigma, the conductance of the material, into the electric field given to the material. Now talking about the Ohm's law is followed by certain material. Not all material follows this same law. The material which follows the law, the VI curve, V versus I, as we know for Ohm's law, it says that I and V proportional, and therefore graph is always a straight line passing through the center for I versus V, or V versus I curve, and therefore this would be a straight line, and the materials or the devices that follows Ohm's law, we call them ohmic devices. So you can take any electrical devices which are ohmic devices, whereas there are semiconductors, or the IV characteristics is not same. It is not a straight line. You take any semiconductor device like diode, triode, they don't follow, they don't have IV curves like that. They don't follow the potential and current relation as a simple straight line relation, or they don't have a very simple ohmic relation. So they are called non-ohmic device. So the normal electrical devices, they follow this Ohm's law, and their curve is very normal straight line, and that is how we call them ohmic devices. Whereas the semiconductor, diode, triode, they don't follow Ohm's law. Their curves are not, IV curves are not a straight line, and they are non-ohmic devices. So today we have started with a very basic concept of the electric current. What is the electric current? Then we have understood what is electric current density, and then we have introduced a formula or relation or laws for resistance. From there we have found what is resistivity, and including the concept of electric field and potential relation, which is a gradient. Potential is a gradient of electric field. Introducing that, we have found another version of Ohm's law, which is a relation between the electric field and current density, as to how much electric field would produce a certain amount of current density in the material, which actually depends on the conductance of the material. This is a property of the material which is actually inversely equal to the resistivity of the material. So this is to start with, these concepts are very much important.